Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 27th episode of the Real List podcast, a podcast about our real list. I'm your host, Ellis. Oh, right. That's not how this goes. I'm not the Admiral here. You are?
No, you're not. And I'm Gloria.
Even though the channel was Admiral Ellis originally.
Oh, shush.
We gotta fix the thing. Anyway, we have a selection from you.
Yeah, it's my selection. Today's selection is Godzilla vs. Kong. This movie came out in 2021, and it's an American monster film. Directed by Adam Wingard. Screenplay done by Eric Pearson and Max
Borenstein. He's boring.
The starring Alexander Skarsgård, Millie Bobby Brown, Rebecca Hall, Brian Tree Henry.
There's a lot of people
And a
in
lot
this
of
movie.
people.
There's a lot of people in this movie, and here's the thing. None of them matter one bit.
No.
That's my... maybe not my first and only, but it's the thing that's been on my mind since we watched this movie. Especially since we watched it on the back of Pacific Rim.
Mm-hmm.
Which has fantastic characters. Tell me, who was your favorite character in Godzilla vs. Kong?
King Kong, obviously.
Okay, aside from the monsters, who is your favorite human?
My favorite human has to be Bernie. Bernie and his conspiracy theories.
Yeah, he's like the only human that gets a decent amount of, like, getting fleshed out. Which is... I don't mean to say it's criminal. I know it's a movie that's about the monsters fighting, which... when this started out, when it was like, oh, there's going to be Godzilla versus Kong, I was like, okay, what kind of competition is that? Godzilla wins 10 times out of 10. As established by this movie, Godzilla wins 3 fights out of 3, basically.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, Kong does not win at all. And when he gets the upper hand, it's because the humans are helping him. The puny humans are helping him. Every time. And listen, I think King Kong is cooler. I would root for King Kong. Unfortunately, compared to a dude with atomic breath that can drill into the core of the earth, he loses every time.
We had this argument even before the movie came out.
Yeah. And then the movie came out, and I read the synopsis, and I went, well, this movie isn't really about Godzilla versus Kong, is it? Because it's about Mechagodzilla. It's about them teaming up to fight Mechagodzilla. Oh my god, the enemies, they get together and they fight a bigger threat. Don't worry, that's not cliche at all.
What was that?
Alright, you talk about the movie, I'll be back.
Well, the movie, I personally, I saw Kong Skull Island, and then I saw Godzilla King of the Monsters, and honestly, the lead up to this movie was bound to happen, because in Godzilla King of Monsters, he killed King, what's his name? Ghidorah, yeah, King Ghidorah, where, you know, in the end of the movie, they had these people rummaging these monsters, and they actually have one of King Ghidorah's heads used to control Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, they have 2 of the 3 heads. One is in Mechagodzilla, and the other one is on the ground.
It's the control center for Mechagodzilla.
Which is a cool premise.
I do like that, don't get me wrong. And
do you know if that's consistent with previous versions of Mechagodzilla, or is it something they made up for this?
I do not know. I have no idea.
We need to watch. Hold on. Mechagodzilla has his own Wikipedia page. We need to watch the 1974 version of Mechagodzilla.
Oh wait, yeah, it says right here.
No, it says he's considered an arch enemy along with King Ghidorah. Sorry, I stopped your train there. What were you saying?
And also, the skull crawlers in Kong Skull Island is also brought into this movie as well, because that's what they use to test Mechagodzilla for, to see if there's any final touches on how they'll take on.
There was training dummies.
Yeah.
They
took those skull crawlers from Skull Island, and they were brought also into this movie. I was just trying to make comparisons to what was in both movies to lead up to this movie.
Yeah,
and
because this was something that you were anticipating.
I was very excited when they announced when this movie poster dropped,
Hmm.
because I was like, oh shit, it's here, it's happening. I was like, I can't wait to see what they do next with this.
Hmm.
And I heard that I heard a while ago that there was supposed to be a Mothra movie, but
Mothman.
not Mothman, Mothra. Uh,
There you go.
and so there hasn't been really anything about that lately, but I'm looking forward to seeing if there
See,
is anything.
I don't know. It was nominated for a handful of awards. Uh, they. This was a very expensive movie to make.
It was a very expensive
Um,
movie. It was
it's
a lot
actually-
of CGI and
Yeah.
a lot of props and everything.
It was less expensive than Pacific Rim, though. Which is interesting. Because I'm not sure, maybe it's because technology has improved that much. It doesn't really look any better or worse than Pacific Rim to me.
Mm.
There are some bits in Pacific Rim where it's like, oh, this is very CG. Like, it hasn't held up as well. In this movie, there were moments where it's like, okay, yeah, I know this is all CG. But for the most part, it didn't seem like... none of it seemed bad. And of course, the fight scenes are the same amount of awesome. I'm sorry, I'm just keep comparing the two movies. But
I mean, you're not really like. I mean,
just let him squeak. Just
in Pacific Rim, they have the kaiju's, and I mean, these are the American versions of the kaiju. So I mean, you can always make comparisons.
well, the kaiju are the Americanized versions of Godzilla, basically, or Godzilla is a kind of kaiju.
Yes.
Kaiju just means like
Monster.
Yeah.
It's another word for monster. So.
So, yeah. I mean, kaiju is a pretty broad term, but it's given a specific sort of look in Pacific Rim, even though it's not a very specific, actually, sort of look because they all look different. But point is, yeah, no, this movie has its high points, which are definitely the fights, which there are plenty of.
Mm-hmm. The movie does not lack fights.
Yeah, honestly, there are. Again, I'm comparing it to Pacific Rim, but it's like, honestly, there's probably more. There's probably more fights in here than in Pacific Rim. Mostly because they managed to rob the characters of all of their meaningful screen time, and also they kill the villains immediately. As soon as they get the opportunity, the villains are dead.
What in this movie?
In this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, they could have had half of the human cast members and spent more time with all of them and had a more fulfilling movie, because I just was going through this going, wow, I don't care about any of these people. When the villains died, I was like, oh, they kind of squandered those guys, and when our heroes were in trouble, it was sort of like, that sucks to be them. Also, I love how the day was saved by effing spilling the whiskey on the keyboard, because that always works. I mean, that is a very on-brand thing to happen. I can't really diss that, because it's campy and it's funny, and, But just in the moment, I was like, oh, of course. Like,
I also like how Bernie was like, do you drink tap water or untapped water?
oh, yeah.
And then, what was his name? Was like...
His name is Tapwater.
His name is Tapwater, and Bernie was just called him Tapwater throughout the movie, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, there was the opportunity for some great characters and great character moments here. But Bernie is the only character that I can't remember the name of. I mean, I remember Madison for obvious reasons, but like, I don't care about her and her character, and I can't tell you really anything about her. I mean, her dad worked
for Apex.
Yeah. Or no, worked for Monarch.
No, he worked for Apex. He worked for Monarch before everything else, and then he worked for Apex.
And then okay. It didn't seem like he was...
Because the director knew her in the end. Remember when they brought them to the lab after they found them?
Yeah, but I thought it was just because the two companies worked closely with one another. But anyway, does it really matter?
No.
It doesn't.
I liked the ship scene where they're bringing Kong from from their holding place.
Mm-hmm.
No, because remember, Monarch is the place where they held Kong.
Monarch is the company that was holding Kong on Skull
Yes,
Island.
but that's not... Apex is a completely different company.
Right.
So Monarch is the place...
Also, just Apex having their, like, their tunnels between facilities and stuff like that, and this crazy infrastructure and whatever. It's like, whoa. We need to spend way more time with Apex and what they do and what they're doing. I get that it's like, whoa, they're crazy powerful.
Trying to make America or
great again.
Shut up. Shut up. They're trying to make themselves... They're trying to make the world the apex predator against Godzilla, and mostly Godzilla because he attacks whenever he wants. And so that's what they were doing, building Mechagodzilla. They were building him to fight Godzilla himself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they were trying to make humanity the apex predator again, hence the name of the company.
Yeah.
Which I think, don't get me wrong here, the guy in charge of Apex was a douche. However, is that really such a bad idea? Like, not being under the thumb of these monsters? During the final fight, all I could think was, why are they trying to stop Mechagodzilla? Just let him kill the other two, and then blow him up. Like, he's a robot. He can't heal, so any damage incurred is going to be damage incurred. It might take a little while, but you're going to take him down eventually. And then humanity has won the monster wars, and you don't have to worry about any of these things anymore. And I know you're supposed to feel for King Kong, obviously. First of all, the little girl shows up in, like, the first third of the movie, and she could have been really important and cool, and then, like, they never address her existence again.
What do you mean?
Like, she barely has an impact after the boat scene. Or, like, after they get into the center world. Like, I just want more out of these characters. I want more of these characters.
Well, the little girl could communicate with King Kong.
Yeah, I know, so they should have used that more. They could have used that all the way through to the end of the movie. They should have used it all the way through to the end. I mean, I guess you're right. They did. She explained, like, hey, he's your, friend, enemy. Okay, yeah, I'm underselling it. I kind of forgot about her utility at the end of the movie because all these characters are super forgettable.
I don't think the little girl's forgettable.
Well, I take no responsibility for any of my shortcomings.
I liked the scene where they were transporting God.
Where they were transporting God.
Where they were transporting King Kong, and the little girl was underneath the ship, and she put her hand on the side of the ship, and she could feel Godzilla coming.
I thought she could feel Kong groaning, and then she went topside to communicate with him. She could feel a shift in the water. I don't think so. Normally, you're actually you pick up on these things sometimes better than I do, and I will. If that is the food, that is a short.
You're outside? Okay.
Okay, yeah, handle that, I guess. Okay, right, I gotta sign it. Point is, the characters are underused, and no, she was definitely hearing Kong because that's what prompted her to go.
No,
to go
she
up on
could
deck.
feel his heartbeat on the pavement. She could feel him dying when they were on the pavement in the last scene.
Well, that too.
In the ship, she wasn't.
I will fight you.
I'm looking it up.
What are you gonna find? You gotta keep the audio rolling.
I'm trying. I'm looking for where, I don't know. It doesn't say anything about the boat getting attacked.
Yeah, no,
it doesn't say anything here about the boat, them transporting Kong and him getting attacked.
Yeah, no.
Oh, right here. Airlifted.
Which also is, at least they had a more appropriate number of helicopters. What is the deal in these movies of just carrying giant things with helicopters?
I don't know.
It
doesn't seem like you could carry this giant gorilla with all these helicopters that they had. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I wanted to talk about how freaking, what am I gonna say here? how Godzilla and Kong are like linked to each other, even though they're enemies. Like you have Kong's parents who fought in this against Kong's like grandfather or whatever, because King Kong's axe is made out of, you said, a fin, out of one of Godzilla's fins.
It's one of Godzilla's like
Dorsals.
dorsal like spikes or whatever you want to call it is Stegosaurus bits.
His Stegosaurus
Yeah,
bits.
it's Stegosaurus bits. I'm sorry, this
Ow!
episode is so disjointed. I'm sorry I just ran over your foot. The food was supposed to take another half an hour to get here. I'm glad we decided to make a podcast instead of doing something else. But anyway, yeah, no, it was definitely that, because then she goes up on deck and talks to him. They get the radar. The radar is what tips them off that Godzilla's coming.
I swear.
No, because she doesn't. She's not. No. When she's in her cabin, then she goes up on deck.
No, she felt something coming, and she ran. She ran to find her mother, quote unquote. Went to find her mother to warn her, and then that's when Godzilla struck.
I remember. No, they definitely had Godzilla on radar.
God.
That's how they knew Godzilla was coming.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
wrong.
not wrong. I'm right.
You are wrong.
I'm right.
You are so wrong.
Joker's girlfriend's dead. Okay.
You're so fucking wrong.
Oh man. But I mean, I don't really care, because this movie isn't about the little girl. She barely matters. And all the characters again.
I also
worthless.
want to say the cars they use to go to Hollow Earth
are worse than the machine from the core. Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was meaning to get to that.
I want to say how they used it to jumpstart King Kong's heart like a freaking
like a defibrillator.
Yeah.
They did it by blowing it up.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that works.
like, hey, by the way, we're gonna bring it back to life, but this is also gonna explode on your chest.
Phrasing.
Shut up.
But anyway.
I hate it here.
What did I say when we started this? It was...
You said how much you hated those.
Godzilla versus King Dong. Like, do you think when he's like walking over everyone, they're looking up and they're like, damn.
I almost spit all over Ellis's computer.
I am unapologetically ruining this podcast. So anyway.
Oh, hi Lafayette.
Yeah, so first of all, why was the only pathway into
Hollow
Earth in the Antarctic?
It
looked like there were a ton of them in the picture.
Idea.
Maybe they're all the rest of them were... Wait, no, it was like an Apex-sponsored thing, so of course yeah. And the Apex lady...
I like how they lied. They were like, oh, your family might be down there. And I'm like...
Well, that isn't a lie.
Well, I mean, not lie, sorry. I didn't mean to word it like that. I like how they said that your family might be alive, but we're not entirely sure.
Well, that's one of the things. I actually liked the way they handled that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Because, they were like, tell him his family's down there, and then it goes through what's her name, and then it goes through the little girl, and each time they sort of, telephone it to the next person.
Yeah, I was just about
they
to say
change it a little bit, and the little girl is like, we hope your family's down there. She doesn't lie to him. She tells him, like, yeah, we don't know, but we think your family might be down there. And they aren't, but Kong seems pretty happy down there. When he gets down there, he seems like, oh, I'm glad to be here. And he does his little, he stomps around, he beats some stuff up, and then he goes into his throne room. And,
nice throne room.
Yeah, and then Godzilla just shoots a laser beam down from Hong Kong all the way down into the Hollow Earth,
and Godzilla's like, come fight me, ho!
Yeah.
And King Kong's like, say less, bitch.
Why wouldn't Godzilla go down into the throne room instead of just fighting him in the middle of a major city? Not that it matters, but... Also, then the Apex people stealing the tiny little core sample, and it's like, this can power Mechagodzilla. I don't know how that makes any sense to me.
I don't know how that makes any sense either.
It's science fiction
But
logic.
I mean, that family bloodline has ran out anyways, so...
Yeah.
Because it was his daughter.
That was his daughter?
It was his daughter.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like,
His hot assistant.
Jackie Burkhart, Wish.com version.
His hot assistant.
Well, she had serious, I got this new anime plot.
She did not have. She barely had tits.
No. In the first scene, you meet her, and then the rest of them, you don't really get to. There's no gratuity in this movie. The only gratuity is just like destroying major city gratuity, and you don't even get that much of that except for in the final battle. Yeah, they open the door to all sorts of wild and wacky stuff, and I probably am not going to see them. You definitely will. Any more movies in this universe? Maybe I'd end up seeing them with you. But I am at least curious as to what the heck is Apex doing? What is the rest of their operation doing?
Well, I don't know if Apex is functioning after this movie ended. I don't know what's going on with that whole corporation.
That's a good question.
Because, the guy who the guy who founded it is dead.
Yeah.
His daughter is dead. The guy who was, how do you say, running Mechagodzilla, controlling Mechagodzilla is dead.
He's dead.
There's not really many people who want to run Apex.
You don't know that. I mean, look at their operation, though. I know they were geared in a specific direction, which is Mechagodzilla, but sort of like NASA trying to build a rocket that lands on the moon, you come up with all sorts of other neat stuff along the way. This is sort of a superhero world problem that somebody pointed out to me earlier, or a Redditor pointed out, which is that it's weird to see a world where superheroes have all this crazy advanced tech and the general populace is still the same. All of that technology is marketable. Sort of like the Iron Man thing. Sort of like, okay, Tony Stark is working on all this crazy stuff. He's going to find a way to market it to the general public. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense that in this universe, the stuff that they're coming up with, the cutting-edge technology, can definitely find a way to be repurposed and sold to the general populace. And I hope, and it's not going to happen, but I would wish that in future movies they sort of address the impact that these things have caused on the world at large. A lot of the time they don't bother with that. And with the destruction of Apex, now it's opening the door to all sorts of people using Apex technology to their own means, or facilities to their own means. Those facilities, those tunnels, whatever, they aren't just going to disappear. They aren't going to go away.
Well, yeah.
So what happens to them?
I don't know. They'll probably find some sort of use for them. You never know. I also would like to point out at the end of the movie where they went back to Hollow Earth and basically is letting Kong live in his natural habitat.
Which I think is a really nice bookend.
I think they ended it really nice. I think it was really sweet. They're watching him, they're maintaining him, because remember, the entrance to Hollow Earth is in Antarctica.
One of them, I guess.
One of them is, and I mean, I'm glad that, they're keeping an eye on him and they're keeping him safe, and you never know what might turn up in Hollow Earth. What movie might come next, who knows?
Yeah, I just anytime Hollow Earth is brought up, especially considering the whole...
It kind of gives me center to the Journey to the Center of the Earth vibes.
Right. Which I own that movie.
Which one? The one with Brendan Fraser or the one with Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
The one with The Rock. But
Brendan Fraser did it first.
I'm sure he did. But The Rock is also
Dwayne
The Rock.
Johnson.
Yeah, continuing on the trend. The Hollow Earth, the whole... even more than Pacific Rim, none of the science in this movie makes any sense.
Of course not.
I know they aren't really trying to. Pacific Rim was sort of acting like their science made sense, and this, they aren't, which I guess is fair, because this movie is here for exactly one purpose, even more so than Pacific Rim. Mm-hmm. It's here for exactly one purpose, and it's Godzilla, Kong, and Mechagodzilla, and it's fighting for top monster. Also, we don't establish where the heck Godzilla went. We established where Kong went.
Godzilla went somewhere. He was just probably hibernating somewhere in the deep.
Godzilla pissed off into the ocean, and it's going to be like frickin' Mr. Nimbus, where if King Kong touches water, Godzilla comes out and has to dunk on him for the 4th time.
Be like, hey, this is my property. You have yours. I have mine. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's an entrance in the ocean to Hollow Earth for Godzilla.
Or maybe there's an entrance in Hollow Earth or in the ocean to the other Earth where Pacific Rim happens, and they're just gonna beat the crap out of Godzilla because he has it coming.
He has it coming.
He has it coming.
Do you want to jump into star ratings?
Oh man, I have no idea what to rate this movie.
I'm gonna give this movie.
I like how it's right underneath Space Jam. we have our star ratings for Space Jam 2 and 1 right above this. What is your rating for this movie?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
You're gonna give it a 3.5?
Actually, no. Give it a 4.
You're gonna give it a 4? Okay.
Give it a 4.
Okay, because you were hyped for this.
I was excited for this movie, and I saw it. You know, I saw it with my dad, and I saw it with my brother and Gianna. You know, I watched this movie, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so excited! I'm so excited!" And then I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to watch this with Ellis."
Okay, at least I was afraid that you were gonna go in the direction of, oh, "I can't wait to watch this! Can't wait to watch this!" Wow, that wasn't very good.
I didn't like how it ended, but, you know...
Wait, why didn't you like how it ended?
Well, I liked how it ended, but I just didn't expect the fight scene to turn out as it did.
No?
No, I expected it to, you know, be like kind of like a stalemate, and I didn't know... I went into this movie knowing nothing. No spoilers, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, what do I have in store for myself, you know? Excited, because I know King Kong, and I know Godzilla, and it's just like, I know that whole monsterverse.
Yeah, and also I remember going into this and you arguing that King Kong had the upper hand, and I'm just like, 2 words, atomic breath, and...
Shush and give your star rating.
But...
Shush and give your star rating so we can go eat dinner.
No.
Because I'm getting
no,
hangy.
I have more to say.
No, I'm getting hangy.
It's okay, I forgot what it was.
Just rate
this movie. I'm gonna give it a 3.
A solid 3.
I'm gonna give it a solid 3. I mean, I feel like that's underselling it because it does what it came here to do, but Pacific Rim does it better.
Yes.
It's, you know, so with that in mind, we still have a couple more minutes. Okay, well, this will be a short one, interrupted by the pizza guy. Yada yada yada. No, what the hell was I gonna say about freaking Godzilla and Kong and, like, there was more I wanted to say and I don't know what it was. But, point is, this movie is fun. This movie is fun if you like Kong and Godzilla, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just a monster movie, and monster movies don't need to be the best movies on the planet because there aren't any other movies that that scratch this specific itch. So with that in mind, we're going to be moving away from the fights, away from the action, and I decided that our next movie was going to be something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be watching Flight with Denzel Washington. It's a drama about a alcoholic pilot who manages to barely not crash a malfunctioning plane. It was something that I watched just sort of out of the blue, and I don't want to get into reviewing it right away, but, you know, ahead of time. It was something that I just watched out of the blue, and it left an impression on me.
I have heard of it, but I've never seen it, so it's on the list.
I'm pretty sure it's on the list. I'm pretty sure I put it on the list because I knew that was something I wanted us to watch. Yeah, there it is. It's next to James and the Giant Peach, Alien, and Watchmen, and Balto. So it's actually pretty close to the top. It was probably on the top of the second page,
maybe,
when this was a paper list. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching this ludicrous episode, just as ludicrous as the movie that it's about. If you've seen Godzilla vs. Kong, if you have opinions, or just statements, or funny quips, or whatever, just know that King Kong got beat fair and square. And please subscribe for more dumb stuff like this, hopefully with fewer dick jokes in Flight, because it's a bit more of a somber film than this. Anyway, Let's go watch a movie.
Bye, guys.